Hey, how we doing on this Monday afternoon, guys? The transfer portal for Tennessee's now it's now hot and heavy, I guess you can say. As Christian Harrison was the first Vol post playoff who entered the portal, and it was announced just a little bit earlier that defensive lineman Jason Jenkins is now in the portal as well. And I'd seen some talk about it on VolQuest today. They said that one was back and forth, but VolQuest did confirm that Jenkins does indeed intend to enter the portal. He actually entered it last year and came out of it, if I'm not mistaken. I think it was a case he went in, or he was going to, and he pulled his name out on it. One way or the other, it was kind of the Tyler Barron from a couple years ago. He was going in, then he was right back out of it. And then, of course, Barron left last year. Same thing with Jenkins. He is in the portal. He's a guy to me. I think it's a loss. I thought he had a lot of potential. I thought he did some good things this year. And that's not a position you want to lose guys at, especially depth. I mean, he did play this year. Now, looking back at it as well, I saw him talking about it on VolQuest earlier, that it looks like probably Bryson Eason, Dominic Bailey, and Tyree West should all be good to go coming back. So hopefully you don't lose much off of that defensive line other than Pierce to the NFL, and then your Omari Thomas, Omar Norman Lott, these guys who have exhausted their eligibility. I still think, though, this unit coming back next year, I think there's a lot of potential on it. And based on my count, if I'm correct, this is the 10th portal entry for Tennessee overall. They've only brought in one in Wendell Moe. I don't know what Tennessee's philosophy is going to be here on it. I wonder if it changed any after the playoff game. But that's something that we'll have to see down the line. As far as defensive linemen, though, looking at it here, Elijah Simmons out of eligibility, Tyree Weathersby. These are guys that should be back if they don't hit the portal. So, I mean, in this day and age, anybody could hit the portal at any time. Tyree Weathersby was a redshirt freshman this year. Joshua Josephs, I thought, had a really good year. I'll be curious to see, I think he's got to get some feedback on where he could go in the draft. I think it would probably, I don't know. I think it's an interesting one. I would think the odds are he's back, but I think he did enough things where he's got to be on an NFL radar. Again, Bryson Eason, based on what they've been saying on VolQuest, the mods on there, it seems like Bryson Eason will be back as he has a COVID year. Omari Thomas out of eligibility. James Pierce Jr., I fully suspect or expect he's going to go to the draft. Jordan Ross was highly touted coming in last year. Hopefully, we need him to take that next step next year. Jamal Wallace was JUCO, and I'm interested to see on that because he's listed as a junior. After this Pavia ruling where JUCO does not count against your 4 years, does Jamal Wallace become a redshirt freshman opposed to a junior now? I'm really interested to see what comes out of that one. Caleb Herring, sophomore. Tyree West, Jackson Moy, both juniors. Davin Hobbs, sophomore. Norman Lott is a senior. He is out of eligibility. Kellen Lindstrom was a freshman. Dominic Bailey, what they're saying, it looks like he may be back. Nathan Robinson was a redshirt freshman. Carson Gentle was a true freshman. Of course, Jason Jenkins was a redshirt sophomore. He will go in the portal. Emmanuel Okoye, I don't know what his long-term – he's a redshirt freshman, pretty raw guy coming over. It seemed like as he started out tight end, then moved to defensive line. He was injured this year. What's his long-term prospects? Evidently a great athlete. Can he pick up football? That's what we're looking at defensive line-wise out of this team. So there's some talent coming back next year. Plus, your guys you had that you've signed. And I thought it was a good signing class as far as who they've added as well, because you had Charles House. You had, let me pull the football recruiting up here as well. As far as defensive linemen, you had Isaiah Campbell coming in. You have Marion Dye coming in, both top 100 prospects. You have Ethan Utley, who's a consensus 4-star coming in. Christian Gass, is he a linebacker or can he play some end on it? Consensus 4 3 out of the 4 outlets had him a 4-star. Rivals had him a 3. Jaden Lofton is a guy, consensus 4-star, edge out of New Jersey. Charles House, he's ranked a 4-star on 3. 24/7 ESPN Rivals have him as a 3-star here. And then let's see, that looks like it for Tennessee's defensive line. That's an excellent defensive line class they're coming in. So the big thing is, to me, who's going to be your edge rusher. Their sacks were down by quite a bit this year. I mean, James Pierce, I think he was held probably all the time this year, but they've got to generate more sacks next year. This line did a lot of good this year in the 2 big games, though they were non-existent. That was Georgia. That was Ohio State. But against Alabama, I mean, they made Jalen Milroe live hard that game. So it's really your road big game. So where does this team go from here with it? Will there be – I think there will definitely probably be more portal entries. There's 9 more days that the portal is open. Question for me is, who's Tennessee going to bring in? And, in this day and age of NIL, how much are you willing to pay to keep guys too? How much are you willing to pay to keep your team together? I think it's just like the defensive backs last year. They wanted money. Tennessee decided they didn't want to pay them the money. They put that money elsewhere. Where's that going to happen at this year? I mean, guys want to get paid. I don't blame them with their worth. Who do you not want to lose versus, who can you afford to lose is basically what it's going to come down to. And there's a lot of questions with this staff, with this team going on. And, with the coach, defensive coaching staff as well. Tim Banks, Willie Martinez, Mike Eckler, all out of contract at the end of this season, or at the end of January. So what happens with that? I still maintain you got to be really careful if you're making a change, because regardless of how the season ended, this defense won this football team a lot of games this year, and they've made improvement every year on here. Could some things change? Sure, but I think you got to be really careful in that regard. If there's any more portal news, I'll try to bring that to you. Tennessee basketball plays tonight at 7. I will be live directly after that. As far as the rest of the day, guys, if you're traveling, be safe. Have a happy holidays. Merry Christmas. And last but most certainly not least, it's always a great day to wear the orange.